Hello, brilliant entrepreneur. I'm Tash Corbin, and welcome to this free training, Create and Launch Your Online Course. Before we begin, I just want to let you know there is a lot of detail in this training. I'm taking you through the entire process of not only creating an online group program, but also all of the stages of launching and reviewing. So make sure that you grab a pen and paper to take notes. There are sections where you can pause the video and take specific notes about the decisions you're making about your program as well. So keep an eye out for those. However, do remember that you can rewatch this training. So if you want to just watch it at double speed to start with and absorb all of the information and then rewatch it a second time and do all the detailed planning, that is totally okay as well. Get really clear on what's going to work for you and what your learning style might be. Now, if you would like to ask any questions, you want to share some aha moments or some light bulbs that you've had, or you just want to sing the praises of this training, you can share at any time in the Heart-Centered Soul-Driven Entrepreneurs Facebook group. And all you need to do is use the hashtag CALYOC, which is Create and Launch Your Online Course. So CalYOC is the short version of Create and Launch Your Online Course. You can find the Heart Center community at tashcorbin.com/group. Now, the other thing I want to quickly say before we begin is throughout this training, you will see the logo of the Heart-Centered Business Academy. And that is because this training is actually formed through the Heart-Centered Business Academy, which is one of the ways that I support online entrepreneurs and particularly women to grow their businesses, make more money, and create a business that's easy and fun. So you will see the Heart-Centered Business Academy logo throughout. That's because this training was actually born in the Heart-Centered Business Academy, and this is the style of training that I do inside that program. At the end of this training, I will also let you know about the Academy, what it covers, and whether it's the right fit for you. A little bit about me. If you don't know me, I am a lean business and launch specialist. I am a prolific course and program creator, and actually some of that has been to my detriment. I will be honest with you about that. When I first started my business, I intended to work as a one-to-one business mentor, and pretty quickly I got into this idea of creating courses and passive income and leveraging my time and all those sorts of things. And I was one of those people who potentially fell into the trap of creating way too many things and having way too many ways of people being able to work with me. And it ended up slowing down the growth of my business. So not only have I created success in my business through online courses and group programs, I've also made lots of mistakes. And I think that that makes me a really good option for teaching and mentoring others, because it's not just about my perfect pathway to course creation success. I'm really upfront and honest about where I made mistakes and some of the things that I did wrong and some of the things that tripped me up in my business. And I say I make mistakes so that you don't have to. And a lot of the lessons and the things that I teach here in this free training are born out of my mistakes. And I think that for a lot of people, we think that we need to just get everything right and not make mistakes in our online business journey. But ultimately, entrepreneurship is really just jumping from one mistake to another as quickly as possible so that you can find out what does work for you. So I've created over 36 courses and group programs and memberships and group things in my time. That is a lot. I totally understand that. These days in my business, there are two core ways that I help people in the group space. I have my takeoff program, which is for people who are starting out in online business and getting to the point where they're making consistent income. And then once people have got that sorted, I have the Heart-Centered Business Academy, which is a monthly membership program. So from creating 36 different courses and group programs to now only offering two, I've been through that full journey in my business. And part of what I teach is the lessons and some of the highs and lows from that journey as well. I should also let you know I am a total biz geek. I had my first business, I was about 8 or 9 years old, crushing up fool's gold or pyrite rocks into glitter and selling them at school. I've always been fascinated with business and making money. I actually got in trouble at a very young age for being too money hungry, but it was just something I was really curious about from a very young age. And I studied business at university. I started multiple businesses on the side from my jobs. I was very hesitant to let go of having a job for a long time. I had some blocks around people who have their own businesses are unreliable and the roller coaster of emotions and finances isn't fun. But I let that all go and started this business in 2013. And oh my goodness, I am so glad that I did. Also, just so that you're aware, I am 6 foot 2 inches tall. That's about 188 centimeters. So when we meet in real life, you have been warned, I am a very tall lady. Our agenda for today has 4 key components. Number 1, I'm going to talk about why courses are so awesome, as well as some of the myths that are out there about online courses and leveraged and passive income. I'm going to take you through the step-by-step process to create and launch your online course or group program. We're going to get clear on what is your pathway, because everyone's pathway to courses and group programs is unique, and different markets, business models, and skill sets actually lend themselves to different ways of embarking on group programs and courses. So we're going to get clear on what your path is. And then throughout this presentation, I'll be sharing my tips, some ideas that you might like to take and get really clear on. And I even have some doing time where you can pause the training, take some notes, make some decisions, and get some things done as you go. So if you want to incorporate the doing time, you might want to set aside a couple of hours. You might want to do this in a few different chunks. But I wanted to give you something that was really full of value and that helped you move forward with your online course, not just get really inspired and lots of information and information overload. I wanted to make it something that's very practical and that will help you at the end of this training walk away knowing what your course is going to be about, what your plan is, and what your next steps are from here. So I hope that you were excited for that. I hope that you feel ready for it. Now, what I'd love to invite you to do is to consider just for a couple of minutes, why is it that you signed up for this training and why are you watching it now? So what is your motivation for being here watching this right now? You may even like to pause this video right now and jot down a few notes about this. But I think it's important that we get really clear on our why whenever we're engaging with any training, because sometimes we're actually engaging in a training or learning something new out of fear. Because someone told us you cannot be successful unless you do this, and so I'm going to teach you how to do that. Or someone said to you, it doesn't count unless it's passive, and so you think that you need to create online courses. I want you to really check in with yourself about what your true motivation is for engaging in this content today. And if it's out of the space of fear or frustration, or you're in this space like, is this not working? I don't know how to do it. I just want you to just notice that. Just notice it. Because one of the things that's really important to me is that I don't promote my freebies. I don't share information, and I definitely don't sell to people through the lens of fear. And often that fear comes from all of those messages that we are exposed to as entrepreneurs online. We hear all of these things telling us you should do that, you have to do this. If you're not doing this, there's no way you'll make it. You're not on the pathway, blah, 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 blah. And there's just all these people telling you what you need and what you should have. And so if we come into the learning space from that mindset of fear, well, if I don't have a course, I won't be successful. Or if we come at it from frustration, I cannot get courses working, I don't know what's wrong with me, then sometimes we can be closed down to the true transformation that actually is about to unfold for us. And sometimes we can be blinkered to just the pieces of information that we think we need, that we think are going to help solve these problems for us. So if you are feeling like frustrated, or you're freaking out about your business, or you're worried that you're not going to be able to succeed, I want to invite you to just take some notes down about that right now and allow yourself the joy of letting that go for now. Because ultimately, creating and launching online courses can be really fun. And you can approach it from a space of empowerment and abundance and feeling really excited about what is to come for you in your business and about the people whose lives you are about to change. Because our courses aren't just sharing information with people, they are transforming an element or component of their lives, and that's really powerful. So take a little moment, let go of the fear and the frustration, tune into your excitement, come at this with an open mind and an open heart, and with some detached curiosity about what might be possible for you. And you never know, you may just stumble across the insight that you need to move your business forward with joy, ease, and flow. So to jump into the core content of today's training, first of all, let's get on the same page about what a course is. So I use the word course in this training to mean any group program that takes people from before to after in a defined period of time. So you might call it a group program, you might call it a mastermind, you might call it a course, you might call it something, but if it has a start point and an end point, and people join and they go from A to B in that program, then we would define that as a course. Now, one thing that's slightly different is a monthly or yearly membership. So this free training is not focused on memberships. It is focused on courses, because the way that you create and launch memberships is very different and has different requirements to the way that you create and launch courses. So if you are looking to create and launch a membership, there will be some useful information in this training for you, but you need to consider the nuances and the differences when it comes to creating and launching memberships, because they have different requirements. It's not a clear line of sight, you go from this to this. It is usually an ongoing support mechanism, or it's a plug and play, grab these things when you want them, rather than necessarily taking people from before and after to after in a defined period of time. So this program and this training is focused mostly on online courses. It doesn't cover the nuance of creating and launching memberships. Okay, so with that being said about online courses, the actual way you deliver the course can be very different from course to course. So you could have video or audio modules. I've even done courses where it was all via written instructions, and it was basically a course in a book. So you can deliver your course through many different modalities and different types of media. It could be self-study, or it could be guided. So it could be a course that people basically get access to 6 videos, they listen to the videos and do DIY it, do it all themselves. Or there could be a component of live support calls, or one-to-one support sessions that go with it, or group support sessions that go with it. It could contain some live components or no live components. Your course could have a community where people can come in and share and talk to each other, or it can be without community. Ultimately, you're helping people to achieve an outcome in a group setting and in a set time frame. The way that you deliver it can differ in the nuance and in the technical ways that you do it. We are going to cover how you actually deliver as part of this training. So I just want to make sure we're all on the same page about what the definition of a course is, and that you're not just focused on 6 video modules and it's delivered and then they log in and do it themselves and then that's it. There's lots and lots of different ways that you can deliver an online course. So why are online courses so great? Why would you create and launch a course? What's in it for you, as well as what's in it for your ideal clients? Now, number one, it is a way to leverage your time. So courses are a great way for you to be able to deliver, instead of one-to-one through one-on-one coaching or mentoring or healing or whatever your practice might be, training. You can leverage your time by delivering to more than one person at a time. Now, that can be done live, or it can be done via pre-recorded modules as well. So yes, courses are a great way for you to leverage your time and create something once and deliver it multiple times to multiple people. It is also a way to make more money. Now, I will say that for a lot of people, creating and launching courses actually results in a drop in their income in their businesses, because they haven't considered that selling a VIP one-to-one package, they might get $2,000, and then they're selling their online course for $395. You have to sell a lot more courses than VIP sessions in order to create the same amount of income. And often the amount of work required to convert someone into a one-to-one versus an online course can be quite similar. So yes, ultimately it can result in you making more money in your business for less time and energy put in. But we want to make sure that we're not just, buying into that rhetoric out there that is like this instant way of tripling, quadrupling, 10xing your money because you can serve 10 people at once. Often your group programs, your courses, those sorts of things are a lower price point than your VIP services, one-to-one services. So therefore it's not an instant 10x if you sell 10 courses versus selling one VIP package. But I'll talk about that a little bit more as we go forward. It is a way to create more time and space in your business. So these days for me, I don't work with many VIPs. I usually have between 10 to 12 one-on-one clients on my books at any point in time. But I have over 400 women in my takeoff program, and usually around 100 people in the Heart Centered Business Academy. And I spend the same amount of time each week delivering one-to-one as I do in my group programs. And yet my one-to-one, I'm usually serving 10, maybe 12 people a month. And in my group programs, I'm working with hundreds of people every month, but it's taking me the exact same time. So yes, it does create more time and space for you when you start to really nail that group delivery of online courses and programs. But it's not just outcomes for you. There are actually great reasons to create online programs for your ideal clients. So one of the things is that in a group learning setting, often you can create better outcomes for your clients. So I know, for example, with my takeoff program, that is the best way I can support people who are in startup in their businesses. A lot of people come to me and say, I'd prefer to work one-to-one because I'm going to get the results quicker and I've got your attention on me and those sorts of things. And actually, if you're working with me one-to-one in startup, you can be missing out on one of the key benefits of being in a program like Takeoff, and that is the peer support network and referral network that you can get from being part of that community. And also, in the Takeoff program, I deliver group Q&A sessions, and often people will be on those group calls and someone else will ask a question and they never thought to ask that question themselves. And so being in that group learning environment actually helps you understand things that you didn't even know you needed to think about. It helps you access a network of peer support and referrals that you might not get access to otherwise. And also in the Takeoff program, we form pods, which are small group masterminds. So it actually gives you access to small group mentoring and accountability with a peer support network that you wouldn't get if you just work with me one-to-one. So I can actually achieve better outcomes for my clients by engaging in a group setting to take them through that process of getting their business off the ground. It can be a more affordable option for clients, of course. So to work with me as a VIP these days is upwards of $5,000 minimum investment. The takeoff program, for example, in 2020 will be $1,995. So it's a much cheaper option. It's way more affordable, and you get way more time with me for your money if you join in that group setting. And eventually, it can be a way for you to create money on autopilot. Now, I say eventually because one of the key things that I teach about creating and launching courses is that you want to actively launch your course at least 3 times before setting it up to sell on autopilot. Because every time you launch it, you get better at converting people into students and actually making the sale. You get clearer on how to turn people from what they think the problem is into what their real challenges and issues are that they face. You get better at messaging. You get better at reaching new audiences and converting cold audiences into paying clients quickly. And all of those things are necessary in order for you to make great sales results on autopilot. So eventually it does create an opportunity for you to make some money on autopilot when you're creating online courses. Now, I would love for you to have a little think about, though, what are some of the things that you've heard about building and selling courses as well? Aside from these 6 things, what are some of the things that you've heard? What's your motivation for creating and launching courses? And the reason why I ask this question is because a lot of people come to the conclusion of creating and launching a course as being the most important or the most necessary next step for their business through maybe some myths or some reasons that are given in the online world that maybe aren't as true as we think that they are. So I like to do a little bit of myth busting before we jump into the actual how. So here are some myths that I've seen out there online about creating and launching online courses. The first one is that courses are information products. Now, if you are following anyone who's teaching how to create courses and they call it an information product, I would suggest that you dig a little deeper before giving this person any of your money, because the idea that a course is an information product is very old school thinking when it comes to online courses. The reason why this is because the initial growth of online courses came at a time where the information available to us on the internet was scarce. It was difficult to confirm. It was a lot of rumor and opinion, and it was actually really difficult to find. So online courses initially came about because there was a lot of disparate information out there. It would take a lot of time to do research online. Finding out how to actually do something in the online space could be quite difficult. And there wasn't a lot of resources out there that were from sources that we trusted or that could be confirmed readily and easily. And so online courses became a way to shortcut that self-study, doing your research and going to multiple sources for information and working out how to do something. But that has completely shifted. These days in the online world, our access to information that is meaningful, well sourced, all put together in a meaningful way, the step-by-step how-tos, our access to information is like phenomenal these days. And so the value proposition of buying a course has changed. People no longer buy courses for information. If they needed information, they would go and get it for free because there's so many free resources out there. People buy courses not for information, but for transformation. Courses are no longer information products. They are now transformation products. And with that shift in market needs and value proposition comes a shift in the way that we create, deliver, and launch online courses. So it is actually a myth, as far as I'm concerned, that courses are information products. Courses are transformation products. Number 2, you may have heard this saying before, that courses allow you to stop trading time for money. And if we dig into that, it's actually not true. So I have the Takeoff program that has now netted me over $500,000 in my business, but I still trade time for money in my business. And the reason why I think it can be a mistake to say, I'm going to stop trading time for money, I'm going to sell courses, is because there is always a time in and money out trade-off. The ratio of time for money has changed significantly, but my courses, even to this day, even now that my business makes over $500,000 a year, my courses still require time in for money out. I haven't stopped training time for money. I've changed the ratio. And I think if you enter into creating a course with this mindset of, I'm going to stop trading time for money, then whenever you put time into your course, you see that as a loss. You see that as a mistake. Whereas for me, when I put time into nurturing my course participants, supporting my academy members, redesigning my course materials and redeveloping and refining, or launching and putting time and energy into launching my course, I don't see that as, oh no, I'm putting more time into this, so I'm trading time for money again. I see this as I'm investing time to improve my time to money ratio. And it is an investment of time. And I honor and love that time that I invest. Myth number 3 is that courses are the only way to uncap your income. And usually the people who sell, like, I'm going to teach you how to create a course and launch it, are the people who say courses are the only way to uncap your income. Whenever you hear these myths, I just want you to apply that filter and that lens of, why is this person telling me this message? What is it that they're wanting me to do? And what is it that they are wanting me to buy? Because there are lots of ways for you to uncap your income. You can uncap your income by increasing your prices. And before you say to me, well, there's always a limit on the amount of time, the amount that I can charge for my services, think about that through the lens of your beliefs about how much you can charge for your services. You are capping your income at the moment because you've capped your prices based on what you perceive as a market rate or a value proposition that you can offer of what it is that your services are currently worth. And, people say to me, oh, well, there's always market limitations. I say, yeah, well, sometimes there are, but ultimately your ability to charge more and more per hour for your services is only limited by your belief about what it's worth, your ability to express the value proposition and the experience and outcomes that you bring to the table for your ideal clients. For all the people who believed that you could only charge a certain amount for a rocking horse, think about the $200,000 rocking horse that Beyonce bought for Blue Ivy. Or for all the people who say, well, for coaching, you can only really charge up to about $1,500 an hour. And then once you get beyond that, there's really no return on investment for people. Think about all the people who are lining up to pay $25,000 an hour to spend time with Sir Richard Branson. There is actually no limit to the income that you can generate in your business. And I'm only talking about one-to-one stuff here. You can uncap your income by becoming an international bestseller of a book. You don't have to sell a course. You can uncap your income by hiring 20 staff and getting them to start doing the doing work for you in your business, and you showing up and being the face of your business and having an agency model. There is not just one way to uncap your income. So whenever you hear these extremes of only way or the you must do this or never do this, I always just invite you to just take a step back and ask, what is the motivation for that person talking in extremes? Another myth about courses is that it's lower cost and therefore it's easier to sell. And as I said earlier, often it takes the same amount of energy and effort to sell a lower cost product as it does to sell a high cost product. And it's not true that the lower the cost something is, the easier it is to sell. I would hazard a guess for you that there are some low cost things that you've looked at before and you've gone, yeah, Nah. A lot of people perceive the value that they're going to get out of something based on the price tag that it has. So I'm not saying don't charge low prices, or, I'm also not saying like put your course price up to $3,000 because you're going to put lots of energy into selling it anyway. But all I'm saying is if you are coming at it with this belief of lower cost equals easier to sell, just check in with yourself and see, is that actually true? Because a lot of the time it's not. Number 5, you can create an audience for your business with courses first. Courses are a great way to create an audience because you're getting lots of people in at a low cost, and kind of ties into the previous point. It's easier to sell low cost. So you're going to build a ginormous audience by selling low cost courses. And this model of business has actually been disproven time and time and time again. Yes, a few people have had a lot of success with it. And yes, there are ways that you can build that on that model, but it's not always the best pathway to market for people. And as you'll see, with the way that I teach business, it is not a one-size-fits-all model. We want to create your unique pathway that fits your strengths and what your resources are as well. Often, the people who create large-scale audiences with low-cost courses when they're first starting their businesses have a huge budget for marketing and advertising. And if you don't have a big budget to reach a big audience to get high conversion rates, then often you're doing yourself a disservice by starting at the low end. And you're better off selling VIP first. But we can get into the details of that. Next is the build it and they will come. So, you need to spend 3 months building this amazing course and then get it out there and start launching it. And people will be attracted to it based on the fact that it's amazing and you know your stuff, and this is an amazing process that's bespoke to you, and you downloaded it when you were sitting on the beach. So of course people are going to come and buy it. Honestly, build it and they will come is it's starting to fade out as a strategy for business. I would much rather support you to create a course that your audience are really hungry for. You know that they want it. You know that they're going to pay for the outcome. Build an audience and platform and that knowing that this has got legs before you invest time and energy into course creation and detailed curriculum development as well. So, the way that I teach course creation addresses this, and you'll see that as we go through today. You need to have lots of courses. I'm definitely the poster child for someone who thought that this was the case. I thought I need to have lots and lots of different courses with lots and lots of different topics so that I could sell people the same person into this course and that course and this course and that course and this. And all I ended up doing was confusing my audience and basically having to juggle my time between 36 different things and not really nailing any of them. So you don't need lots of courses. There are so many amazing, successful people out there who have one program that they sell or 2 programs that they sell. You do not need to have lots of different courses. And I think also another big myth out there is that you need to build courses in this levels model, the ascension model. People will buy something for $7, then you sell something for $97, then you sell them $997, and then you sell them the $10,000 product. And that somehow by making that smaller purchase first, we've overcome people's resistance points, and therefore they're going to be more likely to buy the next thing. That has actually been disproven. And there is now a lot of support out there that demonstrates that if someone purchases from you at a lower price, they will not purchase another thing from you until they've completed that thing. And if that thing doesn't get them the outcome that they thought it was going to get them, they will make that mean, well, I'm not going to succeed at the next one because I didn't even succeed at the lower end. And so we are now seeing a bit of a shift in the market, particularly amongst female entrepreneurs, where rather than using this ascension model of the low cost and then the next level and then the next level, of just having the one thing and just having that one thing be the deep, big transformation that people want to achieve, and like, this is the way that you work with me. And that is getting better conversion rates from audiences who haven't bought with you before than from audiences who have. How powerful is that? So I'm not saying that none of these are good ideas or that this isn't possible for you at all, But I just want you to take a step back and be discerning about the beliefs about online courses that you choose to take on, and question whether that's actually true for everyone, or maybe it's just true for that one person who's trying to convince you of it. Maybe it's true for more the masculine oriented businesses that you may have seen out there, and you're taking this as the truth and that this is the one way because you haven't seen great examples of the other side of the equation. So rather than, like, it's a whole black swan thing, right? You can't be successful unless you have an ascension model. Well, we didn't know that black swans existed, so we didn't know that there were black swans. You don't know what you don't know. And perhaps through this training that we're going to go through, you may just see that a totally different model is not only possible for you, but it will actually be more successful for you because it's more aligned for you as well. Okay, now I also want to quickly touch on the stages of business, because I think for a lot of people, they jump into creating and launching online courses before their business is ready for it. And it's not that you're not ready, but it's that your business is not yet ready. So for women in business, and particularly if you're going from selling one-to-one into creating and launching leveraged products, courses, group programs, those sorts of things, I see these 4 stages as a really great progression through the steps. Now, not everyone's pathway is exactly the same, but what I see in the online business world is when you nail each stage before you move to the next one, the next stage is way easier. So I just wanted to explain these stages of business to you so that you can get a handle on, or a gauge of, where you're at in your business and where maybe you want to fill in some foundations before you jump into creating and launching courses. So stage 1 is the direct sell stage of business. Now, this is where generally you're selling one-to-one services. You're making those sales by having conversations with people. You are on social media, you're creating a mailing list, you run webinars, and you make that direct pitch to people. There's a short transition between people getting to know your business and you making an offer and them saying, yeah, that's exactly what I need, and then signing up to work with you. In that direct sell stage of business, you get clear on what is your model, what is the service that you're delivering, what is the outcome. You get good at messaging and talking about the value proposition of what you have to offer. And you're creating that proof of concept that people will pay for this outcome. Once you've nailed that stage of business, then you can start scaling it. So then you start getting into the space where you're selling not just through one-to-one conversations with people, but like through email sequences, or you run a webinar and it's got a follow-up email sequence and people are purchasing from you without you actually having to have a conversation with them. You might even have some sales pages that you've developed for your packages and the way that people can work with you, and people go and buy through those without having to have a conversation with you. So in the scale and systemize phase of business, you're getting good at reaching new audiences. You might get more consistent with your weekly content, your email newsletters, and your social media. So you're getting in front of larger and larger and larger audiences consistently, and you've systemized the way that you convert those people into paying clients. So you have confidence that you can make sales via email. You have confidence that you can get a couple of hundred people to come to a webinar and you convert some of those people into paying clients with you without you needing to have a direct one-to-one conversation with every single person that you speak with, or without having to have a one-to-one conversation with every single person who's interested in working with you. So you're really getting good at making sales in a more systemized way and in a scaled way, in a one-to-many way. Then once you know you can sell one-to-many, then you can deliver one-to-many. And that's where we get into creating and launching courses. You leverage your time not only in making the sale, but also in delivering the outcome. And you get good at launching your online course. And as I said earlier, I recommend you launch your online course 3 times at least, so that you can see what lead magnets work, what email sequences are working, where do people fall off the sales process, and you can really refine that launch and know what messaging you need to use, what the value proposition is for people, what the common objections are so that you can overcome those, and you get to know and create this predictable launch sequence for yourself. So I know every time I launch the takeoff program, I can get about 500 leads organically. I can get 1,500 to 2,000 leads through my Facebook ads. And through that launch process, I can get about 100 people to sign up to the takeoff program. I haven't yet nailed the over 100 consistently, and I'm really now getting into the space of process orientation where I have ongoing ads that bring people into a sales funnel that sell people into the takeoff program. Those funnels are based on my high converting launches because I know what messaging I need to get across. I know what value proposition I need to highlight. I know what the common objections are, and people are starting to now buy on autopilot into that takeoff program. Now, I am actually my legs are in between those two camps. I am leveraging and launching. I still consistently launch the takeoff program, and I would have, say, getting to the point where 100 people join each launch and about 100 people join in a year, just through my automated sales processes. So I'll do 2 launches each year. Each one will bring in 100 people, and I'll bring in 100 a year through my sales funnels. So my takeoff program is, really getting into that, nailing the leverage and launch now, and starting to really nail that process orientation. So you can see that you go through this kind of journey with the stages of business, and all the while you're community building. Now, here are some indicators that tell you your business is ready for courses. And I just want to preface this with saying you don't have to have all of these in a row, but if you have all of this, it makes creating and launching courses way easier. Number one is you know who your audience is and you can reach them. You have a way of getting in front of your audience. So I have a number of ways I reach my audience. I have my free Facebook community that has over 30,000 members in it. I have my mailing list of my warm audiences who have signed up to be on my mailing list. And I also reach new colder audiences through Facebook advertising. I know who my audience are. I know exactly who my ideal client is, and I know exactly how to reach them, both organically with my time and with structured processes, as well as in a paid capacity by using Facebook advertising. So if you don't know who your audience is in specific detail and you don't know how to get in front of them and reach them, then you're going to struggle to reach enough of them to actually get great sales of your online course or program. And for a lot of people, this is where creating and launching courses actually reduces their income instead of increases it, because they don't actually know how to readily reach their audience. Often it's because they're not engaging in paid advertising at this stage, and so therefore they don't know how to actually get access to a large scale audience without investing a whole lot of time. And it takes them hours and hours and hours a day in order to get in front of the audiences that they need to get in front of, because they don't know how to reach their audiences in a scaled way. Number 2 is you can get people to register for a freebie. So when you create a webinar or you create a new freebie for your business, you can get people to register for that. You've got confidence in your ability to get hundreds of people to sign up for a freebie when you're promoting it. If you don't know how to do that, then launching a course requires that you get people to register for a lead magnet, a freebie. So if you don't know how to do that, how are you going to launch this course to the audience that you need to be launching it to? Now, as I said, there are ways around it, but it's much easier if you know how to get people to register for a freebie. Number 3, you can sell your services already. A lot of people are drawn to selling courses because they think the sales page does the selling for you. But what is on the sales page that does that selling? Words and imagery. And how do you know which words are going to work for your audience, which images are going to work for your audience, if you don't know how to sell? If you cannot sell your services in a one-to-one conversation where you've got the person on the other end of the line telling you why they don't want it, asking questions and clarifying what's going on, then how on earth are you going to make the sale when all they have is the words on the page? It's a really important principle in growing an online business is learning how to sell your services. And the best way to learn is through conversation first. Number 4, if you don't have the cash flow to support the launch and the lulls in income, you may not be ready to create and launch courses. So if you are relying on your launch to be super successful and to create income for you to be able to pay your bills, what are you going to do if you get out there, you start the launch? Now, the first 2 weeks of any launch, you're promoting your first lead magnet, which is a freebie. So if you don't have the cash flow to get through that 2 weeks without income and really focus on getting people into that freebie, and then if you don't have the cash flow to deal with, maybe you don't make a lot of sales after your first lead magnet because you haven't quite nailed the value proposition, if that sends you into a cash flow freak out and a mindset spiral down into the depths of, oh my God, I've broken my business, then if you aren't able to weather that, potentially maybe you're not ready for courses. You need to be able to jump into creating and launching a course from the space of, even if this doesn't land the first time, everything's an experiment, everything's a practice, it's totally okay, my business will survive and thrive because my cash flow is sorted. Number 5 is cash flow, customer service and behind the scenes. When you're creating and launching courses, you're going to need to deal with a bunch of questions and customer service issues, and people are going to be reaching out. If you're still DIYing all that stuff and it's a bit of a firefighting exercise for you, it's going to go tenfold when you get into creating and launching courses. So you might need to spend a little bit of time just tidying up your customer service processes, setting up some procedures, maybe getting behind the scenes sorted a little more effectively. Maybe you need to hire a team member to look after some customer service stuff for you, or maybe you need a customer service system like a Zendesk or a help desk of some sort, just so that you have that confidence that when those customer service inquiries come through, you're able to deal with them and handle them. Number 6 is confidence facilitating groups. And I think this is underestimated by a lot of people. They think, well, I can work with people one-to-one, so working one-to-many is easier because they all just sit and listen and I just teach them what I know. Remember, courses are not information products anymore. They're transformation products. So if you're not confident in facilitating group outcomes, maybe you could practice or warm up with some group workshops or something a little smaller, something live, a once-off thing, a live event in your local area. Just build up your confidence in facilitating groups. It really does help to support that course readiness. And finally, get clear on your process and being confident in your ability to get results. If you've never helped someone get double their Facebook followers and you've created a course that's called Double Your Facebook Followers in 4 weeks, if you don't have confidence that you can actually deliver on that outcome, it's going to feel out of alignment for you. It does feel a bit incongruous. So we want to just tune in and check in. Do you really have a clear step-by-step process that you can take people through? And are you confident in that process achieving results for your clients? When I created the Takeoff program, I had helped over 100 women to get their businesses from, oh, I've got this idea, or I've been trying to get this business off the ground, but I'm not consistent, to, oh my goodness, I'm making consistent 4K months now. Woohoo! This thing is working. I know how to get clients. I know how to make sales. I know how to make money. I know how to market my business. So I was really confident in that step-by-step process because it helped 100 women, over 100 women, to go from I'm not making consistent money to I am making consistent money. And the step-by-step process for many of those women was very consistent. Everyone needed to get clear on what their niche was. Everyone needed to get really good at messaging their services and identifying their value proposition. Everyone had to go through the process of creating their own unique scaled marketing process, sales process. So I was able to turn that into a group program and have confidence that I'd be able to deliver the outcome through that step-by-step process. And here's the beautiful thing. All of these elements of course readiness come from serving and selling one-to-one first. So if you're reading this and going, I can't do any of those things, I don't have any of that, or I've only got one of those things, you don't need to be like, oh, I'm never going to be able to sell courses. Oh, I'm like totally freaked out. You can keep watching this presentation, or you can stop watching this presentation and be like, okay, I'm going to go and tidy back of house. I'm going to go and get some of these sorted first. These all come from simply selling one-to-one. You can set yourself a goal of achieving these 7 things in the next 30 to 60 days, and you can absolutely go out there and nail it. When you know what the goals are, it's way easier to accomplish them. Now, if you are still needing to sort out that direct sell stage of business, I just want to quickly jump in and say that is what I teach in the Takeoff program. So if you are still struggling with most of those 7 things, you can achieve those in the Takeoff program. And I am happy and honored and humbled to support you in that process and take you through that process. The Takeoff program is how I help people to get to the point where they're ready to scale and systemize in their business and start to leverage and launch. That's what the Takeoff program is for. And you can find out all the details of the Takeoff program at tashcorbin.com/takeoff. Okay, so now we know why courses are exciting and awesome and juicy for our business. We know what's not true about courses, and we're mindful of some of the myths that we might have made up about what courses are going to do for us in our businesses. And we're clear of what we need to have in a row and sorted out in order to be ready to create and launch courses. So now I want to introduce to you the course creation and launching cycle. Now this cycle takes you through 2 stages. The first stage is course creation, purpose, peeps, process, pricing, and platform. And then the second part of the process is the launching part of the course cycle. So that is prepare, plan, promo, provide, review and revise, and relaunch. So this is what the stage that we get into. Now, in the course cycle, you can see these little spokes. The reason that the spokes are here is because when you get to the review and revise phase of the course cycle, you review your launch and you revise your course. So every time I relaunch my programs, I do a review and revise process. I review the last launch to look at what are the lessons, where can we tighten it up, what can we rinse and repeat, what can we systemize, what can we automate, and I revise. Are there any changes I need to make to the course purpose, the target market, that's peeps, the process that I take people through, the price point, and the delivery platform? So that's what those lines are referring to. So review of the launch and revision of the course decisions itself. We are going to go through this entire course cycle together in this training today. So let's start with purpose. There are so many options for your course. So many options. So many options around the type of course that you're going to create, who it's for, the way that you deliver it. First and foremost, you need to get clear on the purpose, not only for you, what's in it for you about creating and launching a course right now, but also for your ideal client. Remember I said, out of all the reasons why courses are beautiful and sexy and wonderful, some of them are the reasons that are in it for you, and some of them are the reasons that are in it for your ideal clients. Sometimes course delivery is better for your clients than, and delivering in a group is better for your clients than delivering one-to-one. Sometimes it's simply just that it makes it more affordable for people. So get clear on what's in it for you and what's in it for them. If your goal and the reason why you're creating a course, the purpose for your course is simply because it's going to create more income for me, I just want to do some math with you first. And I don't do this math in order to put you into a space of fear. I do it to put you in a space of making informed decisions. So we're going to crunch some numbers. Let's say your goal is to make $5,000 a month from your online course. If you were to price that course at $47, you would need to sell 107 spaces every month in order to make $5,000. If you were to price it at $97, you'd need to sell 52 a month. If you were to price it at $4.97, you'd need to sell 11 spaces a month. And if you were to price it at $9.97, you'd need to sell 6 spaces a month to get over $5,000 a month income. But the thing that people don't often do the math on here is how many leads are required in order for you to make those sales, because you need to get that amount of leads every single month into your business. So if we base the numbers on a 2% conversion rate, and industry average is now being talked about at like 0.5% or 1% conversion, in using my connected launch strategies, most of my clients are getting 2 to 3% conversion, with quite a good chunk of them getting 5% conversion. But if we just use 2% conversion as the average, to get $5,000 a month from your course, if it's $47, you need 5,350 leads. If it's a $97 course, you need 2,600 leads. And this is every month. If it's a $497 course, you need 550 leads. And if it's a $997 course, you need 300 leads. So the conversion rate is the same no matter what the price point is. Industry averages are indiscriminate on pricing. My courses and programs that I've sold over the years have all sold between 5 and 7% conversion rate on my leads. 5 and 7% consistently, no matter what my price point is. So the course price has less impact on the conversion rate than the strategies that you use to launch it. So if we think about average lead cost on Facebook ads these days being between $5 and $10, you would need to invest a minimum of $25,000 a month in ad spend to get $5,000 a month in course sales. The numbers just do not add up. And if you think about your current audience size, how long has it taken you to get that many leads? How many people have you got on your mailing list? And how long did it take you to get the last 1,000? Because if you are, for most people, it's like it takes them a year to get 1,000 people onto their mailing list organically, or it takes them 6 months in a good instance to get 1,000 leads onto their list organically. So if you're only getting 1,000 new leads every 6 months, and you need to make sales every month to be bringing in that extra $5,000, you can see this math does not add up. But here's the thing, the less sales you need, the more connected you can be in the sales process and the higher the conversion rate. So I want you to have a little pause here and think about, what is the purpose of your course? What's in it for you and what's in it for them? And if the purpose of your course is for you to make more money in your business, could it be that you just need to sell a few more people into VIP or increase the prices of your one-to-one services first to create that income that you need? And the course can fulfill the purpose of creating longer-term income for you in the longer term as you get better and better at generating leads and bringing in new audience members and growing your audience, rather than putting all this pressure on your course to fix your income issues right now. So if you want to pause the video, do that now, and I want you to answer the question, what is the reason for creating this course for me and my business? And what is the reason for me creating this course for my ideal clients? Next up in the process, we have peeps. Who is this course for? And usually what I ask people to do is to answer 4 key questions. Number 1, what is the gender and job status of your ideal client for this course or program? Now, the reason why I ask this question is because the way you sell to men is different to the way that you sell to women. The way you reach men online is different to the way that you reach women. And the same goes for entrepreneurs versus people working in a job versus people who are on maternity leave versus people who are currently unemployed right now. So these 2 factors are the most important factors demographically when it comes to making decisions about how you're going to launch your course and how you're going to deliver it. So gender and job status. Number 2 is, what is the most important trait that this person possesses that tells them they are your ideal client? So it might be that they're deeply introverted. It might be that they're a social butterfly. It might be that they call themselves a lifelong learner. It might be that they're deeply spiritual. It might be that they are a numbers person. So it can be of anything, but it's what is the most important trait above all other traits? What is the most important trait that tells you this is my ideal client? This is the kind of person I want to be serving. Number 3 is, what is that person's big goal that you can help them to achieve? Big goal, make it tangible, practical. Happiness is not tangible or practical. What is the big goal that they're actually like Googling, how do I blah, blah, blah? How do I create an online course? How do I connect with my partner? How do I stop fighting with my partner? How do I get more followers on Facebook? How do I make sales on Instagram? What is the tangible goal that they want to achieve that you can help them achieve? And then what is the challenge that's stopping them achieving that goal? So they're the 4 key dot points. Gender and job status, the most important trait, the big, tangible, practical goal you help them to achieve, and what is their challenge that's stopping them from achieving that goal right now. What I usually recommend that you do before you get into course creation is write down 10 tangible signs and symptoms that they need this thing. Need this thing. So it might be, if you're a parenting expert, every morning getting the kids out the door is a complete and utter nightmare and stresses them out. Everyone. If you are a marketing specialist, it's that she spends 2 hours a day on Facebook and doesn't get clients consistently. So what are some of the tangible signs and symptoms? And see if you can come up with 10 day-to-day examples that tell you, oh, that person needs this course that I'm thinking of creating. And it's usually a subset of your overall niche for your business. So you might like to pause this video here and answer those questions. What are the 4 dot points of who your ideal client is? And what are the 10 tangible signs that they need you? Next up, we have the process. And this is where you map your step-by-step process that you're going to take people through with your course, remembering that a course is something that has a start and end point. So the number of steps is not important here, but I generally recommend you keep it under 12 steps. If there's more than 12 steps, then often what we're doing is overcomplicating it. We want to think about your online course as the equivalent of me coming to stay at your house for a sleepover. Lady Posse sleepover. And I get there and I say, oh my goodness, I need to go and buy some almond milk because I don't have dairy, right? Sometimes I sneak cheese, but don't judge me. I don't have dairy milk, so I have almond milk. So if I came to your house and I said to you, oh, hang on a minute, I need to go and grab some almond milk. So there's an outcome that I need to achieve here. Would you say to me, oh, that's great. There are 6 local restaurants, local supermarkets in the area. All of them sell almond milk of some sort. Now, the first supermarket was established in 1975 and was originally called H&J Allwoods Supermarkets, but it was purchased by the Woolworths Company 3 years ago and right? You're not going to give me the history of everything. You might not even just give me the direction. You're not going to say to me, okay, well, the nearest shop is down Smith Street, and then you turn right on Jones Street, and then you go about 1 kilometer and You're not even going to like send me to forge my own way and find my way and tell me just like all of the steps. You're going to say, get in the car, let's go get you some almond milk. And I want you to think about, and when you take me to go and get almond milk, you're going to take me the quick way. You're going to take me in your car. You're going to know the steps. You're going to know the process. You're going to know where the almond milk is in the aisle. We're going to go in the supermarket together. We're going to go and get our almond milk. And you're probably going to say, here, I'll get that for you. Or you might say, here's the checkout and you can go and purchase your milk. Depends on how much you love me and how much you want to shout me some almond milk, right? But at the end of the day, you are going to help me get that outcome. You're going to put me in your car and we're going to go and get it. Or we'll go for a walk together and go and get it together. So I want you to think about your course through that same lens. Don't tell me the history of almond milk. Don't tell me all of the ways I could potentially get access to almond milk right now. This is not an information product, it's a transformation product. I have purchased this course from you because I want to achieve the outcome. Just get me there really fast. And when you look at it through that lens, for a lot of people, a lot of those steps that you thought were really important start to fade away. So your task for this step, this stage of course creation, is to map out what those steps are. You might like to draw up on a piece of paper, my ideal client before she does the course, my ideal client after she's completed the course, and then write the steps in between. Now, when you're doing that, I just want to share a little extra insight because the number one thing that will create more and more course success for you is that people complete your course and get the outcomes. There's nothing more fulfilling or rewarding as a course creator than seeing people get the outcomes. There's nothing more momentum creating than people going and shouting from the rooftops that they loved your course, it got their outcomes. Oh my gosh, look at my success story. So you don't just want to get people to buy your course, you want to get people to complete your course. And one of the sexiest models I have found for course completion is the learn, do, share model. This is based on the Salome learning cycle. And what you do is when you've jotted down those key steps for your course, under each step, you put learn, do, and share. For each step, you get people to learn something, do something, and share something. So for example, in the Takeoff program, in each module, there's a teaching piece where I teach people, okay, this is what we're going to be doing next. This is why it's important for your business. And here's how you do it. So that's their learning. And then I get them to do the thing. Okay, now you're going to go and do it. Here are your actions that you are going to go and do. Once you've done them, come into the Takeoff group and share X, Y, and Z. Now, when you do this, it creates momentum for your learners. It creates the link between learning something and implementing it. And the sharing back creates a sense of accountability that encourages people to continue in that process as they move through the course. So if you want to go a little deeper into your process here, don't just write down step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Write down what they're going to learn in step 1, do in step 1, share in step 1. Then module 2, learn, do, share, and do that for each of your steps. You can also maximize course completion through providing additional learning support. Things like getting people to buddy up with each other, having a community where all of your course learners can be sharing, seeing each other's progress, getting inspired by each other, and getting, having somewhere to come and share when they may be getting stuck. Doing Q&A sessions or live calls with your learners will help them to overcome any obstacles that might come up, or it also helps people to get their homework done before the next call. Onboarding processes, so email sequences or ways that you welcome people into the course, help them feel like they're seen and they're noticed and you know that they're there. That will create that sense of, oh, she's watching, I'm going to do my homework. That's why when you leave a classroom of kids unsupervised, they're less likely to get their work done than if you have a teacher at the front of the classroom. Reminders, so sending out little reminders and hints and tips and extra things and emails to just remind people to re-engage with the content, and other re-engagement strategies. So something I do in the Takeoff program consistently is I'm like, well, if you've fallen behind anywhere, I'm going to do a special call where you can come and tell me where you're up to, and we're going to get you re-engaged. We're going to get you moving. Sometimes I'll do like a module 1, 2, 3 fast track so that I can get people re-engaged and get through the first 3 modules quickly, get some runs on the board, and feel like they are, making a lot of momentum. So then that momentum continues. So coming up with ways to re-engage people in the process as well. Okay, so I want you to pause the video here and map out that start to finish step-by-step process that you've got, the learn, do, and share at each stage. And for bonus points, think about how you're going to support people's learning to maximize their odds of actually completing the program. You can pause the video here. Okay, so now we've gone through purpose, peeps, and process in your course creation cycle. Next up is pricing. Now, pricing is a difficult one with courses because there is no hard and fast rule about how much a course should cost or what a course is worth. I often get people sending me messages and asking questions where they say, my course has 6 modules and I do 2 live calls. How much should I price it at? And the price of a course has nothing to do with what's included in most cases. The price of the course has so many factors involved in pricing it up. Usually what I say to people is start with a price that feels really comfortable with you and then consistently increase the price of your program. There needs to be a differentiation in price from your one-on-one VIP way of people working with you, because people will make assumptions that they're going to get better outcomes and faster outcomes working with you one-to-one versus working with you in a group setting. So, for example, if your 6-week VIP package is $3,000 and you've got a 6-week online course that's also $3,000, people will tend to opt for the one-to-one through their perception that the one-to-one is going to be more valuable, get them better outcomes. They're going to get that tailored, bespoke attention from you, and therefore they're better off working with you one-to-one. So I generally, to give you a starting point, and I'm not saying this is a hard and fast pricing rule, what I generally say is put the number of modules you've got times your hourly rate. So if it's a 6-module program, put 6 times your current hourly rate and then divide that by 4, and then see how that number feels to you and make some decisions from there. Generally, when you're first creating courses and programs, I recommend you value group time at about 1/4 the rate of one-to-one time. But as I said, it's very general. There's no hard and fast rule. There's lots of exceptions to the rule. But even just doing that pricing calculator may give you some insight into how you feel about pricing this thing, and it can at least be a starting point for you. Ultimately, just make a decision to price at a price that you feel really comfortable with for now, knowing that you can put the price up and move on with your life, because you'll never find the perfect price just theorizing about it in your head. So if you need to do some pausing here to work out the pricing of your program, you can do that now. Next up, let's talk about delivering your course. You need to decide on a platform. Now, the number one thing I want to say here is don't let the tech overwhelm you. It doesn't need to be shiny and polished the way that you think it does. Particularly for the first launch of your online course, a lot of people really nail it by having a Facebook group and delivering the modules live as live group calls using Zoom. That is totally sexy. You do not need to have a membership platform where people log in and paying all this money and online forums and all those sorts of things. You can deliver your course in really easy ways, particularly for the first time around, because you don't know if it's going to sell yet, and you haven't nailed your conversion yet. You haven't nailed your messaging yet. You haven't nailed your launching yet. Chances are your first course is going to get less than 20 people in there. There's lots of things that you can do without having to have these shiny platforms and all the tech bells and whistles. Keep it really simple. So if you think about the things that you need to deliver and the platform that you'll need a way to deliver modules if you've got them. So you can either deliver them live as live calls, or you can pre-record them as videos and have those videos available for people to watch. Now, you could have a Facebook group for your group program, your course, and just put a pre-recorded video up into that group every week. Totally simple, right? It doesn't have to be shiny and sexy. If you're going to deliver live calls, you'll need a way to host those live calls. I recommend Zoom. I also like live webinar. And there are other ways that you can do it, but I would say Zoom and live webinar are probably the 2 main ways that I would recommend. Zoom is probably the most user-friendly, the easiest to get to know, and the cheapest to get started with, because you can pay like $20 a month to use Zoom Meetings Pro. So it's a really simple platform, really easy to get it all set up. So you just need a way to deliver modules, a way to deliver those live calls. I mean, if you have them for modules and live calls. If you have live calls, you then might like to record them and have a way to deliver that. So again, if you deliver the live call as a Zoom call, you can record that call and then upload it into a Facebook group, or upload it to the back end of your website, or as unlisted on YouTube and send people the link to it. So you don't need to have a platform to deliver that. If you are having a community, you can use Facebook for that community. And many courses have shown that if you keep the community on a platform they're going to be on anyway, they're more likely to re-engage with the content. That's why my group programs have Facebook groups that go with them, because my audience are generally on Facebook consistently. And so if a post from my group from takeoff pops up into someone's new feed, they're like, oh, I haven't done my takeoff work this week. That's going to re-engage them in the process. So that's why I like using Facebook for that community element. You can use, hosted forums and platforms and those sorts of things. Again, it's totally up to you. But when you're first starting out, I love to use the free options and the easy options. If you've got worksheets, you'll need a way to deliver those. You can send people emails with the worksheets attached to them. You can put them up into a Facebook group. You can host them in the media section of your website and just give people the link to download them. There's lots of ways that you can do that. If you've got audios, you can do all of that exactly the same way. And there are other platforms and other things that you can deliver. But ultimately, if you're going to be creating this as a course for the first time, I would say just keep it as simple as possible, as easy as possible. If the tech's a nightmare for you, it's going to be a nightmare for your customers. So just keep it as simple as possible. So now I want you to pause and write down what are the elements of your course that you're going to need to deliver and how are you going to deliver them. Okay, so now in the course creation cycle, we've done all the course creation part. It's time for us to move on to being ready to launch. So we're going to get that sorted. So in order to be ready to launch a course, you need to get to MVP. And MVP stands for minimum viable product. So what is the bare minimum that you need to have sorted in order to be ready to start a launch? Number one is you need a way for people to give you money. So you're either going to need a sales page where people can click and pay some money to you, or you can have a way that people can, ask for an invoice from you. When I first launched my my large group program, my VIP group program, the way that people purchased from me was they booked a free 15-minute conversation. If it was a good fit, whilst we were on the call, I took their credit card details, or they could request an invoice, and I sent them an invoice. I didn't even have a sales page for it. So, you don't necessarily have to have all the bells and whistles. So they need a way that they can give you money, though. A place for them to go when they've purchased. So that might be into a Facebook group, or to go and check their emails for the materials. A way for you to deliver it. So as we talked about with platform, you need a way to actually deliver the components of the course. You need a way to communicate with people. So that might be email or a group or both. You need clarity on the process that you're going to be taking people through, because you need that in order to sell it to people, and for you to be clear on how long it's going to take and how many weeks are involved and what are the steps you're going to take people through. And you need something prepared in advance. Now, I generally recommend being at least 4 to 6 weeks in advance in your content creation. But if you like to create live every week for your course, that's totally up to you. Just make sure you give yourself time and space to do that, and that you don't send yourself down a freak out, burnout spiral. So have some of your course prepared in advance. If you're delivering your modules as live support calls, just put your slide decks together for each module in advance so that you've got that clear, you know what you're going to be covering off every week. If it's going to have worksheets, maybe do the worksheets in advance so you can see what the exercises are that you're taking people through, and you're not staying up till 2 a.m. making that PDF fillable because you didn't create your worksheets in advance. So that is being ready for launch. Now we want to plan the launch. So how are you actually going to launch and deliver? Now, a basic launch structure that I would recommend is, number one, your runway and pre-launch. So the runway is where you start to collect an audience of people who could be ideal clients for this launch. So for example, you might have a series of Facebook Lives that you do that talk about this process or talk about the outcome that you're delivering. Talk about the topics that are relevant to your ideal client. Your blog posts or your videos for the content cycle for the weeks leading up to the launch are all starting to talk about this outcome or this topic area or the needs and desires of this target market. So you've got some pre-launch that starts to create some momentum. Then we have 2 lead magnets. Now, lead magnets are freebies that you offer that attract your ideal client and help them to understand what's going on and why it's going on and how to start moving forward, and then present to them your program as the next logical step. So a webinar is a great lead magnet, or a 5-day challenge, great lead magnet. So usually the launch process involves running your first lead magnet, say your first webinar, and then on that you upsell people into the early bird price of your course. And then when early bird closes, you start promoting your second webinar or lead magnet. And on that lead magnet, then there's a deadline they need to join by the cart close, or the bonus ends, or the course is beginning in a week's time. So you need to join by the time we start the course next Monday, right? So that's a normal basic launch structure. Now, I can't go into too much detail about launch planning. I could do like 5 hours on launching and launch structures and all those sorts of things, but just get clear on what are the key elements of your launch. What are you going to do in runway and pre-launch? Are you going to have a waiting list? Are you going to privately invite a bunch of people that were already leads for it? What are you going to do before you get the launch off the ground? What's your first lead magnet going to be? What's the incentive for people to buy after lead magnet 1? What's your second lead magnet going to be? And what's the incentive for people to buy after lead magnet 2? So lead magnets are free content that attracts your ideal client, helps them achieve an outcome, facilitates that ping moment where they're like, oh my gosh, yes, I do need to get this sorted. And you present your course as the next logical step. Webinars and challenges work best as lead magnets. Okay, so once you've planned out that launch, then you need to execute the launch. You actually need to get out there and start promoting your course. During your launch, you have 3 jobs when it comes to promo: reach, convert, and look after your mindset. So reach the right people, convert the right ones into clients, and nurture your mindset throughout that launch process. So in terms of reach, the one thing I will say is to pump up your reach, you need to micro your niche. The more specific your ideal client is for this course, the more you can speak to those tangible, practical challenges and outcomes that you help people to achieve, and the more your messaging will stand out online. Now, there are a bunch of ways for you to grow your reach and reach those right people. One is you can create a post that goes viral. Now, you don't have a lot of control over that, but the more you're creating consistent content online, the more likely it is that something's going to go out there and reach a big audience for you. Number 2, be consistent. If you are consistently posting on social media, you're consistently getting out in front of new audiences, you are growing your reach consistently. Long-term consistent reach growth is always a sexy, cost-effective, and ad spend saving outcome in your business. It's such a great strategy. Number 3, you can pay for your reach. So if you know who your ideal client is and you know how to do Facebook ads, or you want to hire an ad specialist who can get in front of the right people, then you can pay for that reach. For a lot of people, I say go for organic reach the first launch, and then we start incorporating paid reach in the second launch. So your organic audiences are the most likely to convert. So therefore, if you can convert at 3 to 5% on an organic reach launch, then when you go and get out in front of cold audiences, you're going to know that at least you know how to convert well, and some of that conversion is going to carry over to cold audiences. So you can pay for that reach. You can jump into other people's audiences through 2 strategies. One is jumping into Facebook groups. So you can go in the Heart-Centered Soul-Driven Entrepreneurs Facebook group. There is an audience of 32,000 members in there. You can go and promote your lead magnets and your content and your paid products and services in that Facebook community and start recruiting those people into your audiences. There are lots of Facebook groups where you can do that. And guest posts. So you can partner up with other people and get in front of their audiences and recruit them. So there are 4 ways that you can reach new audiences for free, and 1 way that you can reach them at a price, which is paying for it. Okay, so that's reach. Then you've got to convert them. So great niching gives you great leads, which gives you great conversion rates. So again, niche. I talk about it all day. If you haven't got a clear, refined niche, if you don't know how to express your value proposition to your ideal clients, Takeoff is the program where I help you to do that. So just go and check that out. Let's do it that way. But great niching gives you great leads, and great leads then create great conversion rates. Number 2, highly connected lead magnets. This is why I recommend webinars and challenges as your lead magnets for launch, because they give people access to you in real time. And the more access people have to you, the more connected people feel to you, the higher the chance that they're going to convert into paying clients. If they're on a webinar with you and they're like, I wonder if this is for me, except I'm a hairdresser and she's talking about beauticians and massage therapists, then they're going to feel like they can jump in the comments box and say, hey, I'm a hairdresser. Would this work for me? If they don't have access to you in that launch process, say you've got a checklist that they go and check in and they're going through the checklist and like, oh, that sounds really good, but it's for massage therapists. It's not for me. The chances that they will reach out and ask that question in order to work out whether it's right for them or not are way lower. It's much more likely that they're going to ask the question if they're with you live and if they have connection with you. So that's why I highly recommend webinars and challenges as lead magnets, because people get access to you and they ask their questions of you in real time. Number 3 is get your turn process really clear. Now, turn is a way that I use to explain the link between and the transition that people make between focusing on what they think they need and focusing on what they really need. So there is generally a gap. Your ideal client might think that they need to just find the best diet plan, but what they really need is to stick to something consistently. Your ideal client might think that they need to get in front of bigger audiences, but what they really need is to not only get in front of bigger audiences, but actually get better at converting them into paying clients. So a lot of people usually take one of two approaches. They either do I'm just going to yell at you what you really need until you listen to me approach. And so 90% of their audience just aren't listening to them because it's like, yeah, it's all well and good for you to say that, but I don't need that. This is what I need. And so they actually tune out from you because you're only ever talking about what the real deep transformation is, and they're still living in symptom land. So sometimes people make that decision. They're like a bit ranty and a bit yelly and a bit judgmental in their content. It's not particularly connecting, not particularly converting. And then the other way that people go is that they Trojan horse it. So they'll say, I'm going to give you the thing that you want. Here's how to reach 5,000 people online. And then they don't actually teach people how to reach 5,000 people online. They say, aha, actually, that's not what you need. This is what you need. I'm not going to teach you how to reach 5,000 people online. You don't need that. This is what you need. I'm going to teach you how to do this. Now, both of those can work to an extent. But what I find is that there's actually a much more connected, much more engaging, and much higher converting way of addressing this. And that is to actually bridge the gap for people, to facilitate that aha light bulb moment. So people are thinking, I just need this, I just need this, I just need this, I just need this. You say, okay, well, here's how to get that. But also, have you considered that just getting that isn't going to solve it for you because you've had that before, or you've tried 6 of those and none of them ever really worked consistently. Maybe what's going on is there is a deeper transformation that needs to happen here as well. So instead of it's not this, it's this or this, it's a this and this proposition. So that's what the turn process is. It stands for what people think that the problem is, problem and solution. Help them to understand how to solve what they think the problem is and that it might run deeper. R stands for the real needs. What is it that they really need? What's the real transformation that's going to happen here? And then N is next steps. What is the next step of how people can work with you to get that transformation? Number 4 in conversion is high quality emails and sales page. Yes, they will have a huge impact on how effectively you convert people into paying clients, but you can't create high quality emails and sales pages unless you practice selling your thing. So yes, it might be lovely to hand over your sales page to a copywriter, but the first questions that a copywriter is going to ask is, who is your ideal client? What are your key messages? What are the objections that your ideal clients have to purchasing your thing? What is the value proposition of your thing? And if you can't articulate that because you've never sold it before, then they're not going to be able to write you a great sales page. So high quality emails and sales page, I usually say start just by writing your emails and sales page, and then refine as you go. You cannot create great sales pages and emails on theory. You need to get them out there in front of your audience, see how they perform, and then refine from there. Number 5, follow up consistently. How many times have you been to something and someone presents this amazing offer and you're like, yeah, that sounds amazing, I'm going to look into that later, and then you never hear about it again? You need to be everywhere when you're launching something. Conversion comes from people seeing it over and over again. Now, I'm not saying send 17 emails in 5 days. I usually recommend a much more lean email process for launching, but you need to be sending emails to people who are leads for your launch, making sure that you're posting consistently on Facebook where you first connected with them, posting on social media in the places where your ideal clients hang out so that they can see your thing a number of times. And if people say to you, oh my gosh, that sounds so amazing, I'm definitely keen, don't go, oh, that's lovely, let me know. If I look forward to you joining. Reach out and connect with them, because the more connected you are with them, the higher likelihood that they're going to convert. Number 6, pay attention to the numbers and the feedback they're getting in launch, and refine, which I'm going to cover in one of the coming up steps. Relaunch the same thing over and over and over and over again. Every time you launch it, you're going to get better at converting people into clients. Every single time. And practice. You won't nail your webinar the first time. That's totally okay. I am still, to this day, every time I run a webinar, when I do it the next time, I do it better. And when I do it the next time, I do it better. It's getting better and better and better. Everything's a practice. Everything's an experiment, and I'm consistently learning. So I said that there were 3 things you needed to do. Reach the right people, convert them into paying clients, and nurture your mindset. When you are launching a course, you are beyond DIYing your mindset. Get mindset support, because when you are launching a course or program, you are going through all of the emotions. There's going to be roller coasters of results. You're going to have quiet days. You're going to have amazing days. You're going to hit upper limits. You're going to hit lower limits. You're going to be bounced from pillar to post. And if you are at the point where you are ready in your business to launch a course, you are ready to be beyond DIYing your mindset. Get a mindset practitioner on board. Whether you work with a mindset coach, a tapping practitioner, a kinesiologist, or someone regularly throughout your launch period, get mindset support. Full stop. There is no excuses. Okay, now we're hitting the home straight on the course creation and launching cycle. We've covered purpose, peeps, process, pricing, and platform in the creation of your program. We're prepared by hitting the minimum viable product. Now we've planned the launch, and now we've executed the launch. We've actually got some people joining your course or program. Now it's time to actually deliver. Provide that course. Nothing sabotages your next sale like under delivery of your last. Make sure that you have the time to be present with delivering that online course or program. And remember that your boundaries are your job. So if you have, say, 7 people join your course and they're all emailing you privately and walking all over your boundaries, it's your job to reestablish those boundaries and nurture your course participants within those boundaries. Make sure that you have time to be present. So many people underestimate the amount of time and energy that goes into holding space for people and facilitating a group. And particularly the first few times you create and launch a course, you are going to need to have extra time available to be present. People will ask questions. People will be like, oh, I can't find that handout. Can you remind me again what this is? I think I've done it right. Can you check my work for me? And you want to make sure that you're able to be present, particularly those first few rounds, because that will give you the information you need to refine and revise that course so that it is more proactively delivering those outcomes for people and addressing those things in advance. Once you get into having delivered the course, then we've got 2 things to do in the next stage, and that is review and revise. So you want to revise the creation of the course. Is the purpose clear? Is that right? Does it need to be realigned? Have I got the right target market? Is the process working? Is that step-by-step actually getting the outcome that people are looking for? Have I priced it appropriately? Do I need to reevaluate my pricing? And do I need to start upgrading my delivery platform or changing it in any way? So that's what you want to revise on the creation side. Then you want to review the launch and the delivery. How prepared were you in that launch? Are there things you need to prepare more in advance in order to be ready for the next launch of that course? Was the launch plan adequate? Do you need to have more detail in launch plan? Do you need to change out your lead magnets? Are you going to use the same lead magnets? What is the plan to actually launch it? What about in the promo phase? Were you present in that execution of your launch plan? Did you answer questions? Did you have questions come up? Were people engaged in that launch? Were you doing enough Facebook Lives or present enough throughout that launch process to answer people's questions? How are you going to change that promotional execution of your launch plan? And then the provision. So in providing the course, did you give yourself a little review? Did I provide that course effectively? Was I present with those people? Did they get the outcomes? How can I shift up the way I provide the course in future? And then the final part of closing the loop on this is relaunch again and again and again and again. Please, please, please learn from my mistakes. Otherwise, my mistakes were pointless. So a little tiny quick story here. When I first launched the Takeoff program, I had 13 people join in the first round. And as we were starting to get to the end of that round of the Takeoff program, a few people were saying to me, oh my gosh, this has been so phenomenal. I've got consistent income coming in my business now. I feel like I'm ready to create a course. What are my next steps in my business now? And I started to panic. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to create another course for these people. So then I created this program called Pilot School. It doesn't exist anymore. And it was a course on how to create your first passive income product or your first leveraged product. And it was a shorter course. It was a 4-week program, and it was a self-study course rather than a connected course like the Takeoff program was, where it had live support calls. And it was $98 early bird and $198 full price. So I created the launch for that, and I launched it out there, and I sold 8 places on Pilot School at early bird. So it was about $700 and no places at full price. And so I was like, oh, I haven't quite nailed the launch of that one. I'm going to relaunch it again. So I did another launch of Pilot School. And this time I did $198 early bird and $298 full price. And I had 6 people join at early bird and 2 people join at full price. And none of them were ready. They all needed to do the Takeoff program. And the Takeoff program was $1,000. And so I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to go back and start relaunching the Takeoff program, because clearly a bunch of people in my audience, they think that they're ready for courses and leverage, but actually they still need to refine their messaging and get their value proposition right. And they need to actually start making consistent income in their businesses. And so I started up a relaunch of the Takeoff program, and I had very few leads in that relaunch, because for 4 months, I'd been talking about passive income and courses and all of those sorts of things. I hadn't been growing my audience full of people ready for the Takeoff program. I had split my audience. And so I ended up actually really struggling in the second launch of the Takeoff program, because I didn't have enough leads for it. And so it was a huge mistake. And if I had, once I'd delivered the first Takeoff program, stopped, reviewed, and relaunched the Takeoff program again, all those people when I was first launching the Takeoff program who didn't join would have been re-engaged in that launch process, and maybe I would have had an even higher conversion rate the second time around rather than the first time around. But I immediately after the Takeoff first launch started talking about passive income, and all those people who were following me because they wanted to start their business went and found support and advice and help elsewhere in the meantime. So I basically had to go and start again from scratch. And I always say, I have no regrets in my business, and I love all the lessons that I learned, all the mistakes that I made. But if I could go back and whisper in the ear of Tash at any phase of her business and at any point in time, I would go back to 2014 Tash and say to her, relaunch the Takeoff program 4 times before you create any other courses and programs. Because if I had created that snowball effect of momentum of relaunching and relaunching and relaunching and relaunching, the Takeoff program would have gone crazy way faster than it ended up taking. In the end, it took me until 2016 to realize, at the end of 2016, to realize what I had done by splitting myself between all these different courses. And I decided for 2017, I would just launch the Takeoff program. And I did 4 launches of the Takeoff program. And it wasn't until the 3rd launch in 2017 that I actually learned how to sell to cold audiences. Up until that point, my conversion had only worked with the warmest audiences. And I totally wish I could have experienced that aha moment back in 2014 instead of waiting until 2017. My business trajectory and my income growth would have been way faster if I had done that. So please learn from my mistake. Okay, so just quickly to summarize our course cycle that we've been through, we have purpose. What is this course for? Not just for you, but for your audience. Peeps, who is this course for? Process. What is the step-by-step process you're going to take people through? Pricing. How much are you going to price it at? Platform. How are you going to deliver? Once you've made those key decisions, then we prepare your minimum viable product for launch. We create a launch plan. How are you going to get out there and actually get this in front of the right people and convert them into paying clients? We execute that launch with beautiful promo. We provide the course to the people who've jumped in. Then we review the launch. We revise the course creation and delivery. And then we relaunch it and go back into that cycle of preparing for launch, plan, promo, provide, review and revise, relaunch. And we go through that cycle again and again. Beautiful lady, I know that this has been an in-depth and very value-laden training for you. If you're feeling overwhelmed by it, remember you can rewatch this training. I'm here to support you through this process as well. I'm going to let you know how I can continue to support you through this course creation and launch journey. But I just want you to know that you've got this. I totally believe in you. You can achieve course creation and launch success. Having it broken down into all these steps can make it look complex. It really isn't that hard. It's just about taking it one step at a time, one day at a time. Today, what we've done is understood why courses are so awesome. We've looked at some of the myths about online courses and how to know when you're ready to create and launch online courses. I've taken you through the step-by-step process to create and launch your online course, making sure that we're getting clear on your path and the unique things that are going to work for your business, your market, and your strengths. And throughout this presentation, I've been giving you tips, ideas, and plenty of time to pause and get things done. You do not need to go on this journey alone. In fact, it's often a silly decision to do this on your own because you don't know what you don't know. And that's why the stages of business is such a powerful representation of that business journey, because for a lot of people, they don't realize, oh, I've not learned how to sell at scale yet. And so if I try and sell at scale of something new that I've never offered before, then potentially that's not going to work out for me. So just getting really clear on what those stages are and knowing how to nail each foundational step before you move to the new one can often be a huge insight for people. If you are looking at this diagram and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not ready for leverage and launch yet, or I am, I just wanted to explain to you how I support people through each of these 4 phases of business. So at the direct sell stage of business is my Takeoff program. This is an online course. It has 12 modules. It takes you through step by step how to get all those foundations clear and make consistent, good money every single month by selling directly and one-to-one with people. Once you've got that working, you're making a good, consistent few $1,000s a month, then I have the Heart-Centered Business Academy. And the Heart-Centered Business Academy is actually broken into 3 sections: scale and systemize, leverage and launch, and process orientation. So in the Heart-Centered Business Academy, I don't just teach you how to create and launch online courses. I also help you get those foundations in place so that you're ready to do that if you're not quite there yet. If you would like my help with those stages of your business, whether you're at scale and systemize, leverage and launch, or process orientation, the Heart Centered Business Academy is how I do that. It includes step-by-step modules for each of those 3 areas. We have 3 live support calls every single month where we come in, you tell me where you're up to with your business. I can help you with any questions that you have. We brainstorm your ideas. We have focus months 3 times a year as well. So we have a funnels month, a leisurely launch month, and a list building month. So we have all of these amazing ways that we can help you really grow and start to scale your business. Plus, you get access to a beautiful mastermind of women. This academy is how I give you the guidance, support, and accountability you need to grow your business consistently and easily. And if you would like to find out more, you can go and check it out at tashcorbin.com/academy. The academy is currently 196 Australian dollars per month, plus GST for Australian residents. It is a monthly membership program. You can pay by the year as well and get an extra discount if you like, but there is no lock-in contract. So you can join for 1 month and then at the end of the month say, that was amazing, thanks so much, I'm out. And we also have a 30-day refund policy. So you can actually join the academy for 30 days, jump in, come to the calls, listen to the modules, and participate in the program. And if after 30 days you decide, no, this isn't the right fit for me, I don't like the delivery method, I don't like the group, or any of the reasons, I don't ask any questions about why it's not for you, you can access a 30-day, no questions asked, a full money back guarantee, and we will refund your money. No awkwardness, no showing me your homework, there's no hoops that you need to jump through. You just email my support team and say, no, I don't think the academy is the right fit for me. Can I please get my money back? And you'll be able to access your money back in full. So all the details of that are over at tashcorbin.com/academy. And if you have any questions, you can email us at support@tashcorbin.com. Thank you so much for joining me for this in-depth, detailed program on how to create and launch your online course. And remember that you can go over to the Heart Centered Soul Driven Entrepreneurs group and use hashtag CALYOC, CALYOC, create and launch your online course. Ask questions, share your light bulb moments. Let us know what you discovered about your course creation and launching process over in the Heart Centered group at any time. So just use that hashtag CALYOC and you can come and share your insights, ask questions, and keep the conversation going. And until next time, beautiful lady, I cannot wait to see you shine. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.